I was telling my buddy Steve, I was like, I just feel stuck in certain aspects of my life. I feel stuck right now, even with just my walk with God. It seems very just kind of going in circles in the last month or so. Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Ascend the Mountain. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Steve, and we are two normal dudes just helping other people in their relationship with the Father.
So we've been talking today, we were literally behind that tree over there, just talking about life. And I was telling my buddy Steve, I was like, I just feel stuck in certain aspects of my life. I feel stuck right now, even with just my walk with God. It seems very just kind of going in circles in the last month or so, stuck because of coronavirus, you know, trying to find some sort of normalcy and routine in all the just the weirdness. And we really started just kind of talking and unpacking that idea of being like stuck, either in maybe a marriage, stuck in your business or your job, or like what are some other things that people like you've experienced being stuck in, like in your life?
Well, being stuck even mentally, you get stuck in this mindset of just like, you know, when I used to go four-wheeling, you get stuck in the mud.
Yep.
And you're like, and you go,
Yep.
keep going back, and that's where you can get mentally. You're like, I'm gonna move forward. You kind of get yourself pumped up, and then you're like, and then you go back down.
Yeah.
It's mentally, it's even physically. Like right now, I've lost about 15 pounds, trying to get rid of my moobs, my man boobs, and try to get more muscle back in my 40s. And I kind of reached this plateau, as you could say, where I feel fit now, but I still have this little part left, and I've been going at this for 3 or 4 months, and I just can't, I feel stuck even physically.
Yeah.
So there's different ways. I mean, you talk about marriage, parenting, definitely spiritually, and I would say I kind of feel that way a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like, how do we...
Right, and so to tell you that you're not alone. If you feel stuck in certain ways, you know, where you're just like, you know what, I love my spouse, but man, it's just like the same old thing week after week. Man, I love my kids, but it's just the same thing week after week, or work, or like I want to try something different, but I don't even know how I can. You know, I got a certain paycheck coming in, I got certain benefits, and like, how am I ever going to recreate this at this phase of my life? You know, whatever it may be. And it's easy to just go, well.
That was good what you just said.
What's that?
Because my wife and I just had this
Wow.
discussion. She's been at a job for a little over 10 years. She's pretty high up in her company, makes big decisions. And she goes, it's hard to go somewhere else when I have such good benefits. And she goes, and she even said, I just feel stuck in my job. I don't even know how to get forward. I don't know how to move forward. She's like, everything, I get paid well, I get benefits well. And it's almost like,
Right.
And I had no answer on that part. I was like, I kind of like the benefits.
Right. I like what you're doing. Keep doing it.
Stay stuck, baby.
Right. You're stuck is helping us out.
Yes. But it's frustrating because
Right.
you're like, and I just saw just like sadness just go over her face. She's like, I don't know, what do I do?
Right.
And I'm sure everyone gets there at some point.
Totally. And so we were thinking, just like in scripture, where's like a paradigm of that? You know, because that's what's so beautiful, I think, about the word, is that there's always anything you have been, are going through, or will go through, God has laid out in some capacity in the word. And so there's a story in the book of Deuteronomy, right?
Yes.
That it talks about, and why don't you tell us just a little bit, Steve, like what's going on with the children of Israel, and they're obviously stuck, like what's going on?
Well, you know, God set them free from from themselves.
Yeah.
From
We're about to talk about that.
Yeah, from Egypt. I jumped way ahead. And obviously they were meant to take over the promised land, and they saw the giants, and God said, and they were just too afraid, except for 2 of them, Joshua and Caleb, and we'll hit on that later. And he's like, I'm just going to send you around.
Yep.
And for 40 years, you're just going to go in this circle of continuum over and over. And I can imagine what's going on in their head and their hearts and their minds going, waking up.
I've seen this tree before. This is like number 30 that we've seen this tree.
They already probably have all the leaves counted and going, yes. But that's why they complained, and they're kind of wishing they went back to Egypt and to slavery. But it's the same. Imagine 40 years of the same thing over and over and over.
I mean, I know manna is like heavenly food.
And over.
But after a while, it'd be like, God, I can only cook manna so many ways.
Even though God's taking care of them, he even says,
Right.
even your sandals haven't even worn out.
I know, that's nuts. It's awesome.
So there's cool things that God takes care of us.
But they're like, I want a new pair of Tevas. Like, come on.
I won't even make it. If you rock Tevas, we love you.
Yes. Hey, I have a pair of Tevas.
But it does. They kind of get stuck, and that's where we're processing.
Yeah.
God had to do. He said something to the Israelites until they could take the promised land. And what was that?
So he ultimately said to them that original generation needed to die in order that the next generation that didn't have all the baggage from Egypt could then go and take the promise and get unstuck. And so obviously we're only have one life to live, and we're not supposed to just die.
Yes.
So how we can relate that, and what even we're talking about for ourselves, is like, even in my life, in your life, areas where we're stuck, because I'm stuck, you're stuck in different ways in different areas, is what is inside of us that needs to die.
And that's the key point. It's a mentality. It's
Yeah.
a mental thing. Something has to die, and that's what we're saying. He's not going to kill you off just so someone can move forward.
Right.
He's not working in that way anymore.
That's not for,
But something literally has to die in you to move forward. And it's usually, and that's what I found out in my walk with God a couple days ago. He kept on repeating Romans 12:1, where he said, renew your mind. You need to change the way you think. Because it's easy to be stuck in a situation and without changing your mind. Does that make sense?
Right,
You're
yeah.
not changing your mindset. And
Yeah.
it's so frustrating when God says, maybe you change the way you think,
Yep.
put on a different lens, but that part has to die. That I'm stuck.
Right.
Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
that and that it's like that mentality of that this is all there is, that this is all it's going to be. That attitude, that perspective has to go. And oftentimes, I think that's going to take crucifying that, and that could be daily for like a while, which really sucks. But there's no other way to do that. To be like, I'm going to put that to rest. I'm going to bury that so that then I can, live and actually move forward. And I think it was funny because so I used to go four-wheeling. I had an '84 Toyota Land Cruiser, and it was awesome. It could beat out any Jeep Wrangler that was out there. Could climb mountains and hills better than any of my buddies' Jeeps. But like what you were saying, where you get like high center or you get like stuck. And what we would do is, if we got stuck, is we would have to put something different underneath the wheels.
Ooh.
So they even make like those like long pads that you can put under there, and it helps get the vehicle out, or you'd have to put wood under there sometimes, or you have to like pick a different path. If you're just there, just hitting the gas, and then you get stuck. And so it's like, what are you
just fishtailing?
Yeah. What are you
going nowhere?
What is your foundation that you're on right now? Maybe what are some of the things that you're putting your, to try and push off of that maybe need to change?
And that's interesting. My wife and I had a discussion about being stuck, just even marriage. We've been married 20 years, going on 21 in September, and we kind of just felt stuck. And we had a discussion about how can we get unstuck. And we came to this conclusion, is that things need to change in us.
Mm-hmm.
Old habits, we're going to stay stuck if we're doing the same habits over and over, the same things over and over. And that's what we sat there and went, what do we need to change? Not just me and not just her. What can we change together to get this unstuck?
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of came to some conclusions, and every marriage is different, every place is different, but it's really us sitting there going, you're going to stay stuck if you have the same mindset. You're going to stay stuck if you're just like insanity. You're going to get the same result if you're doing the same thing over and over, and people get frustrated, like, I keep trying this and doing this, and we're like, but I'm not moving.
Right.
Obviously, that way is not working.
Right. And to not get discouraged if you don't really know. You're like, I know I'm stuck, and I have no idea like how to shift that. I don't even know what needs to die. You may, like, I think of your wife. I know her situation a little bit with the job.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how does she what? And so she probably doesn't even know on some level how to get unstuck from that.
So she looked at me and said, Steve, you should get more subscribers to your YouTube channel. So tell all your friends and say, hey, we need to help Steve's wife get unstuck.
Right. Right.
And she can sit on a beach.
Yep, there you go. So
like and subscribe.
Right. But to encourage her, and that some of that may only come to you out of time with the Father, just being like, God, you have to reveal it to me. I don't know how to get unstuck, but please show me, because I'm willing to kill whatever you show me. Now, and that's the other trick. So then when he does highlight something, you can't go, not that. I'll kill other stuff, but not that. I'll sacrifice other things, but not that thing.
That's tough. Ooh, that's not fun at all.
No.
Because God sometimes, spending time with the Father sometimes can be all warm and fuzzy, but there's sometimes he points things in you that he wants you to change. That's never fun. That's another podcast for another time. But he does know where you're stuck. He understands that you're stuck, and he knows why you're stuck.
Yeah.
And it's being able to have that attentive ear. And another thing we always share is relationships.
Yeah.
That's one thing is I was going through some stuff this week, and I FaceTime Aaron multiple times saying, hey man, I'm stuck in this. I don't know what to do. And he gave me really good advice in the sense of is really changing my mindset. But he's also said is, are you willing to change? That's a key. And being able to change in a situation. And so, but I'm going to end with the scripture.
Yeah, do it.
So in Numbers 14, it all deals with the Israelites and taking over the promised land. They come back, and this is what God says about Caleb. He was part of it, Joshua and Caleb, where they're like, we want to take over this land. We can do this. Everyone else is like, no, but Caleb says this. But this is what God says. He says, but my servant Caleb has a different attitude than the others have. And I love that because he had a different mindset. He wasn't satisfied going, okay, what are we doing? We need to be moving forward. I don't know why why would we want to go walk around this tree on our time?
Right.
What are you guys doing? Let's go do something. And I think as I said, and I'm going to reiterate this, it is changing your mindset, putting on kingdom mindset, getting God's lens on and how you view things, and really getting rid of the fleshly part, the complaining part, the I'm irritated part, I'm frustrated part, and putting on God's mindset and having that attitude. So
It's good, man.
if you're stuck, we understand.
Yes. God wants to help you get unstuck. He's not just standing there like, figure it out. He wants to help.
And it may be a process.
Yep.
It may be a couple year process, for some a week, but be willing to go through the process.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
that's it.
All right, we love you guys. Never forget you're not alone. We care about you.
He does.
He doesn't.
I don't care about anything.
So you guys are awesome. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a current subscriber. Follow along with us, and we'll see you next time.